Hello and welcome to Solent Sports News. Coming up on today's programme, a losing start for Southampton's new manager. Hasenhüttl might not be ready to pick up a trophy anytime soon. And watching football for free, but has a new scheme to get people through the turnstiles worked. And out for the count, while out until the new year. A festive break for these Southampton boxers. Good evening, and it was a debut to forget for Ralph Hasenhüttl. A 1-0 loss against Cardiff meant the Saints are sat second bottom and without a league victory since September. The Austrian insists that there were positives to take away from South Wales.
My guys, we don't lose a match, either we win or we learn. And today we learned that I think passion and good character is basic. I think we did it today, but it's not enough.
Will Fowler, our Southampton correspondent, is here to talk about the ongoing crisis at St Mary's. So Will, what went wrong at the weekend?
Well, it was a funny game because they're both teams who are fighting for survival. Now, the trouble was this was a game where if either team would have got a goal and won, you wouldn't have been surprised either way. In terms of possession, Southampton had loads of possession. They had about 63%, I think, but it was just that lapse of concentration from Vestergaard who let Patterson in, and they really can't be doing that at this level.
Yeah, and they have Arsenal at home on Sunday. What are we going to be expecting of this game?
Well, that's the best thing about the Premier League. You never know who's going to win. Arsenal are on a massive. I think there's 19 games unbeaten so far. That's in all competitions. But I think this will either go one or two ways. Southampton will nick it 1-0. They've got the quality. Charlie Austin is someone who really can put the ball in the net against these big teams, or it'll be 5-0 Arsenal. Players like Aubameyang and Lacazette are just too good for the defence at Southampton.
So how do they improve to save their season and not get relegated?
Well, I think the main thing is investing in January. I really think that Hasenhüttl needs to get a look at his team and he needs to find what areas that they're lacking in, which at the minute there's quite a lot. I think if they need to spend a few pounds in January, and hopefully they can bring in enough quality to keep them up, because it's a real uphill battle at the minute.
Thank you, Will. And Manchester City and England attacker Raheem Sterling was allegedly racially abused by a section of the crowd at Chelsea. Sterling has since addressed the issue on social media and believes the back pages of newspapers are fueling racism by treating black and white players differently. The game finished 2-0 to Chelsea, but City boss Pep Guardiola was proud of his team.
They are so strong team in front, in the middle, and the back. And the second half, the first 8-10 minutes, they were better than us. But after that, the first half and the last 20-25 minutes, we are fantastic. And it's a joy. It's a joy for me to be as a manager.
After 3 consecutive defeats, Frome Town went into Saturday's match against Poole desperate for a win. And it's not just on the pitch, for Somerset Club are facing difficulties. Lawrence McJanet went to see if the Robins could rediscover their winning ways.
After a dismal run of form and with attendances dwindling, Frome Town were desperate to stop the rot on and off the pitch last Saturday. A community initiative to bolster crowds at Badgers Hill meant adults with children would get in for free for the crunch game against Poole Town. And 300 fans, double the average, turned up for a must-win game for the 18th place Robins, who'd be showing off new striker Jordan Rogers. And the ex-Tiverton frontman almost had an immediate impact, turning and firing wide in the opening minutes. But it was the travelling support who were off their seats first, as Poole Town took an early lead, with Will Spetch finishing well from Jamie Wiscon's flick-on. Frome weren't going to roll over though, and they spurned a succession of good chances before Robins striker Kane Simpson drew the home side level on 62 minutes. Rodgers nearly marked his debut with a goal, a fine 20-yard drive that Kearney tipped over the bar, and by the end the visitors were the more relieved to hold out for a point. After a valuable draw, Frome defender Connor Roberts believes they can still rescue their season, while manager Danny Greaves is pleased to hear the crowds back at Badgers Hill.
I think it was more like, I know we lost the games, but it's just more the same what we've been producing. Cause we haven't been producing bad performances. I think that's the worry. If you're losing games and it's bad performances, then you've got to start to look at yourself. But we thought we were playing alright, so it was more the same. Obviously, George coming today made a massive impact.
An absolutely massive difference. First half, I don't think we did enough to get the fans going. Second half, we stepped it up a gear. And the noise, I turned around to the bench and said that's the first time this season we've heard any noise here. And it does make a difference. It pushes you on, and you could see that at the end. We were pushing on, and the crowd were getting us going, and we were getting them going. So we've got to do more, but it was nice to see the fans here.
New boy Rodgers rightly won the Man of the Match award and looks set to be a firm favourite at the Somerset club.
I think the whole team deserves to get the Man of the Match today. I think all the lads put in a strong performance. Definitely lads at the back, and then obviously we create chances going forward. So yeah, I might have got Man of the Match, but I think the whole team deserves a lot of the credit.
And with further initiatives planned to draw in the crowds, Frome's new frontman has chosen the right time to make a name for himself. Lawrence McJanet for Solent Sports News.
In snooker, Ronnie O'Sullivan made history last night as he won his 7th UK Championship. O'Sullivan beat Mark Allen 10-6, meaning he has now won a staggering 27 out of 28 matches in York. The win sees him go ahead of fellow Englishman Steve Davis, who has also won 6 championships. And over to American football, and New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady has a new record to add to his collection. The 5-time Super Bowl winner now has 582 touchdown passes in a dramatic game which saw the Dolphins win by 1 point. The 41-year-old Brady eclipsed Peyton Manning's record at the Hard Rock Stadium. And Southampton was greeted to a night of amateur boxing as a local club hosted their final event of 2018. Pound for pound showground have almost double the amount of events as last year and look to go out with a bang. Our reporter Gurpreet Singh has the story.
Pound for Pound brought their 2018 to an end on Saturday night as their final show took place at their home venue. Clubs from as far as Wales were in attendance as the 16-bout show entertained a crowd of 120 in Southampton. Pound for Pound owner Steve Barnes was happy with how the show went and where the club is heading.
We're growing as a club where we're actually creating better boxes as well. It's nice to hear from people, you know, in the public and that saying we're now established, you know, and we're known for that. So that's fantastic. You know, we're getting known in the community. We're getting known to have sort of, you know, good up and coming boxes.
4 fighters represented Pound for Pound, one of which was the victorious 16-year-old Ben Abbott, who made his debut for the club.
Feels good. I've never really done another club before. It's my first time joining a different club. Pretty nervous as always with the fight, but yeah, good to happy to represent the club. I think it's great, you know, fight at home and that is less travelling, so sorted with that, and yeah, I think it's a great idea to do it as a boxing club.
Although Pound for Pound only recorded 1 victory in this event, Steve was in high spirits following the show and looks forward to the new year.
Like, the vision for this place is huge, you know, and it feels like we are on track. Honestly, boxing in a community is fundamental because so many people need to channel what's going on in their lives. I think football, you know, for a sport is very accessible, very simple. You don't need a lot for it. But boxing as well, it's not an expensive sport to start.
The schedule for the new year is still in the planning stages for Pound Showground, but rest assured the venue plan to keep their audience hooked. Gurpreet Singh, Solent Sports News.
And that's all for this year. See you in 2019 and hope you have a Merry Christmas.